In this episode, we'll be exploring a teaching from the early Buddhist discourses that looks closely at how our actions, our speech, and our thoughts shape the direction of our lives. Rather than philosophy or abstraction, this sutta speaks in a very grounded way about everyday choices, ordinary habits, and the quiet patterns that form beneath them. These are the same choices we meet in family life, in work, and in the small moments when no one else is watching. As you listen, there's nothing you need to do. Simply let the words arrive at their own pace and notice what feels worth carrying with you. In this discourse, the Buddha is traveling through the land of the Kosalans with a large community of monks. As he wanders from place to place, he arrives at a Brahmin village called Sala. Word spreads quickly among the local householders that a well-known teacher has come to their village. Gautama, the contemplative, spoken of with respect as one who has awakened, who understands life deeply, and who teaches a path that is clear, complete, and practical. Curious and hopeful, the Brahmin householders decide to go and see him for themselves. They approach the Buddha in different ways, each according to their temperament. Some bow respectfully and sit down nearby. Others exchange polite greetings. Some hold their hands together in reverence. A few announce their family names, while others simply sit quietly. When everyone has settled, one question rises from the group, a question that has likely troubled people for as long as humans have reflected on their actions and their consequences. They ask the Buddha why it is that some beings, after death, end up in painful and unfortunate states, while others are reborn into fortunate and happy ones. What causes such different outcomes? What explains this apparent imbalance in the fate of beings? The Buddha answers simply at first. He says that the difference comes down to conduct, how people live, speak, and think. When conduct is out of harmony with the Dhamma, with truth and ethical order, the result is suffering. When conduct is in harmony with the Dhamma, the result is well-being and happiness. But the householders are not satisfied with a brief answer. They ask him to explain in detail so they can truly understand what he means. The Buddha agrees and invites them to listen carefully. He begins by explaining that human conduct unfolds in three main areas: actions of the body, actions of speech, and actions of the mind. Each of these can be either unskillful, leading to harm and suffering, or skillful, leading to peace and benefit. First, he speaks about bodily actions. Unskillful bodily conduct shows itself in three main ways. The first is taking life, killing or harming living beings, acting with cruelty or indifference to suffering. The second is taking what is not given, stealing, whether openly or secretly, taking what belongs to others without consent. The third is sexual misconduct, using sexuality in ways that betray trust, exploit vulnerability, or cause harm to families and relationships. These actions, the Buddha explains, disturb the fabric of trust and safety that allows people to live together peacefully. Next, he turns to speech, which he treats with particular care. Words, he says, have great power. Unskillful speech appears in four forms. There is false speech, lying, distorting the truth for personal gain, to protect oneself or to gain advantage. There is divisive speech, repeating things in ways that pit people against one another, breaking friendships and communities apart. There is abusive speech, harsh, cutting words meant to wound, humiliate, or provoke anger. And there is idle chatter, speech that is careless, pointless, or distracting, talk that wastes attention and pulls the mind away from what truly matters. When speech is used in these ways, it becomes a source of conflict and confusion rather than connection. Then the Buddha addresses the mind, the source from which actions and words arise. Unskillful mental conduct also has three forms. One is covetousness, the constant craving for what belongs to others, the restless sense that what one has is never enough. Another is ill will, harboring thoughts of hatred, resentment, or the wish that others be harmed or destroyed. The third is wrong view, a deeply distorted way of seeing the world that denies moral responsibility, denies cause and effect, and dismisses the value of ethical action altogether. When the mind is shaped by these patterns, suffering naturally follows. The Buddha explains that when people live in these ways, through harmful actions, destructive speech, and distorted thinking, they plant the conditions for painful outcomes. This is what leads after death to rebirth in unhappy and deprived states. It is not punishment imposed by an external force, but the natural result of actions rooted in harm and confusion. Having explained unskillful conduct, the Buddha then turns to its opposite, conduct that is in harmony with the Dhamma. Skillful bodily conduct also has three aspects. First is refraining from killing, choosing nonviolence, compassion, and care for all living beings. This is not just about avoiding physical harm, but about cultivating a heart that respects life. Second is refraining from stealing, being content with what one has and respecting the property and livelihood of others. Third is refraining from sexual misconduct, relating to others with responsibility, integrity, and respect, rather than exploitation or betrayal. Skillful speech mirrors the unskillful forms, but in a wholesome direction. Instead of lying, one speaks truthfully, even when it is inconvenient. Instead of sowing division, one speaks in ways that heal, reconcile, and bring people together. Instead of harsh words, one uses speech that is gentle, respectful, and considerate. Instead of idle chatter, one speaks at the right time, with purpose, saying what is meaningful and worth remembering. In this way, speech becomes a bridge rather than a weapon. Skillful mental conduct, the Buddha explains, begins with letting go of covetousness, learning to rejoice in what one has and in the good fortune of others. It includes goodwill, the sincere wish that others be free from harm and live with ease. And it includes right view, understanding that actions have consequences, that generosity and ethical living matter, and that there is a meaningful order to life shaped by cause and effect. This view does not require blind belief, but a willingness to look honestly at how actions shape experience. The Buddha says that when a person lives with this kind of bodily, verbal, and mental harmony, the results are very different. Such conduct leads to happiness, stability, and fortunate rebirths. He describes this using the language familiar to his audience: rebirth among prosperous families, among various heavenly realms, and even among refined states of existence associated with deep meditation. Rather than repeating each realm in detail, the underlying point is clear. Wholesome conduct opens the door to increasingly peaceful and expansive forms of experience. Finally, the Buddha speaks of the highest possibility. Beyond all favorable rebirths, beyond even the most refined heavenly states, there is liberation. A person who perfects harmonious conduct, who uproots greed, hatred, and delusion, can realize freedom here and now. This freedom is described as release of the mind and release through wisdom, a state no longer driven by craving or confusion. It is the end of the cycle of suffering. When the Buddha finishes speaking, the Brahmin householders are deeply moved. They say that his teaching has made things clear, like turning something upright that was overturned, or lighting a lamp in the dark. They declare their trust in him, in the Dhamma, and in the community of monks, and they take refuge from that day forward. For us, this sutta offers a straightforward mirror. It asks us to look honestly at our actions, our words, and our thoughts. Not in order to judge ourselves harshly, but to see cause and effect clearly. Each moment of restraint, each truthful word, each thought of goodwill plants a seed. Over time, these seeds shape not only our future, but the quality of our present life. In this way, the path described here is not abstract or distant. It is something we practice whenever we choose harmony over harm, clarity over confusion, and compassion over indifference. As we come to the end of this reflection, the heart of this teaching remains simple. Our lives are shaped, moment by moment, by how we act, how we speak, and how we hold things in the mind. Not through dramatic gestures, but through small, repeated choices. Choosing care instead of harm, clarity instead of distortion, goodwill instead of resentment. The Buddha's emphasis here is not on self-judgment, but on seeing cause and effect clearly, with honesty and kindness. You might carry this teaching into the day by noticing just one moment, a pause before speaking, a softening of tension, or a quiet wish for well-being toward yourself or someone else. If these reflections are helpful, you're welcome to return for more Sutta readings and contemplations here on Still Mind Suttas. May this teaching support clarity, steadiness, and a little more ease in how you move through the world.